Welcome to Clements Family Farm. Today we're wrapping up part 4 of my vanilla series on how we get our Dragon Venom vanilla. So first off, if you guys like my videos, I want to continue to do this. So subscribe to our channel, give us your support, and hit the like button and notification bell. This way you guys get the updated videos as we post them. So we do appreciate all of you and your comments. Today's a long video. I apologize for that, but there's some important information in this video I think will help you guys along for the future. If you guys decide to want to sell this on the market or you're selling it to your friends and family, I think some of this will help you out. But anyway, today's video we're going to be starting off with my testing and how I determined my vanilla was finished after 13 weeks. So you'll see the explanation there. From sanitizing, we'll go into removing the seeds and the bean pods from the extract, and then into bottling. Then I'm going to talk about the creativity of labeling and marketing a little bit at the end. So try to be unique, and I'm all about creativity, and I love hearing everything. So let's roll into the video and get on with it. All right, so here we are. We are 13 weeks into making vanilla with my process, the vacuum seal method, and then the window and the shaking and all that. So please follow my series 1 through 4 to see where we are to this point here. Because here I am testing as I'm making this and going throughout the weeks. I'm testing. So you'll see in those videos that I did a test at 7 weeks and then another one at 9 weeks. I waited 9 weeks because I knew at 7 weeks it's not finished. It just gives me a reference point. And I don't know if you can see the color change in there. After the testing, I seen this, we're at 13 weeks. Now I'm going to go ahead, break the seals on these again. And then what I'm going to do is mix them. I'm going to mix all these bottles together, pull the seeds out, and pull the pods out. All right, so let's talk about sanitizing equipment. I know there's a lot of questions out there between everybody about sanitizing and not sanitizing. Filling bottles and everything like that. It's not required to sanitize. Not that I can read anywhere. The only thing that I see is make sure everything is washed with hot soapy water, rinsed really good and clean. And I want to make sure everything is safe. No matter what. So I always go above and beyond what is required, and that's okay. So that's where I'm at today. We're going to be bottling vanilla, and I'm taking you through that process. So this is one of my first steps before I even get all my vanilla stuff out, is I get my equipment ready. So what I do is I use a sanitizer called Star Sands. And this stuff is awesome. I've had this for a couple years now. I barely used anything out of it because a little bit goes a long way. 1 ounce of this will mix up 5 gallons of sanitizer. And this is a no rinse sanitizer, so it's super, super easy. All you got to do is mix it up, and I already did that. So a little bit of warm water, not hot water, just a little warm water, and the Star Sands, you can read the instructions on the back. It'll tell you how much. It's 1 ounce per 5 gallons. Then you got to break it down by how much you're going to use here. So I used a little bit here in my my tub, a little warm water. And then what I usually do is once I get it mixed up really good, I put it in a spray bottle. And I have this for the stuff that I can't get inside this bucket. And then I'll also use, I have a bottle washer here. So this is already mixed up. And I will tell you, all my countertops, everything that I have, I always clean before I do anything. And I use 70% or 90% isopropyl alcohol for everything. Because I do honey, I do a few other food products, jams and jellies. And I just want to make sure everything's clean. So I buy bulk isopropyl alcohol at your local Walmart or Amazon. And then as I'm cleaning everything with soapy water, I'll go back with the alcohol, wipe everything down. This is just my ADD kicking in and trying to be as cautious as I can be. So all my stuff is clean right now, including my vanilla bottles that I've been doing. I've wiped them all down with the alcohol. So now I'm doing the equipment. And it's pretty simple. Actually, let me just take some. I'm going to put this in my bottle washer. And the reason why I'm doing this now is I want this to dry a little bit before I start bottling. So this is the first thing I do before even messing with the vanilla or anything that I'm doing that day. That way this is done and out of the way. And as soon as I start messing with the vanilla, everything is ready to go. I don't have to wait for it. Even if the bottles are still wet, it will not affect the vanilla. They say that this does not affect flavor or taste or the composition of anything. Brewers use this a lot for making beers, wines, meads. So I do use it for all my jams and jellies and other stuff. So it's good. So when you're doing this, try to think about all the equipment that you're using and just have it on hand for your process. So for me, the coffee strainer is my biggest tool that I use for almost all the stuff that I do, except for jams and jellies. A little bit there, the thinner ones. But all you gotta do is put it in there, shake it off, and then let it dry. The stuff that you can't get in here, or it's a little hard because of the shapes, just take your spray bottle, spray it, and then just let it sit. I got a couple funnels I use. I've got this big tub that I'm going to be putting all the vanilla in. So just want to make sure it's done. I do the outsides too. Just that extra precaution. I mean, coronavirus. So with the coronavirus going on, everybody's sanitizing everything. So I've already been in that mindset. So this is good anyway. So that's why I do the outsides. It's just to kill off anything that could be there. So I've got all my strainers today. I'll probably just be using this big one, but just in case, I got my little one here, my other two little ones. And then I'm just going to spray everything. And make sure that they're good and coated. So I will have a link to everything that I'm using in the description below. The Star Sands and the equipment. So the other thing I like, milkshake spoon. I love these long spoons. You know, the old school milkshakes that you used to get. These things are wonderful, especially trying to get in and to those deeper jars. So I always got that turkey baster just in case. Get the insides, outside, shake it off. So again, my countertop. Not only did I did the alcohol rub on it and wipe everything down, I also used the Star Sands and sprayed everything down, wiped it down, and let it dry. And these are 12-ounce bottles that I use. They're sauce bottles. I get most of my stuff on Amazon, and I'll leave a link there to everything that I buy. I used to use different bottles, but I really found these ones really easy to use, nice. They come with the caps. They do have some with the screw caps, but I do use the cork style caps. I've never had any issues with them because these cork caps are designed for alcohol. So evaporation, if you've got a bottle of vanilla that's on the shelf long enough to evaporate, you're not using your vanilla right. So now I know that they're clean. All you gotta do, just gonna prime it a little bit. And what I do is because it does kind of spurt to one side, is I just push down and twist it. And then I put it in my bottle rack. Alright, so there's 24 bottles all sanitized, ready to go. I'm going to put these off to the side and get ready for my next process. The one thing I was just sitting here thinking about is there are bubbles in here. You can see the bubbles right here. Sometimes they don't go away. I do have a bottle brush. I sanitized it earlier, and if those bubbles don't go away in the next 30-40 minutes, I'll just stick that bottle brush up in there, pop all those bubbles, bring it back down, and then put them back on the rack. So yeah, it's just an extra step, but that's what I do. I don't like having that extra residual in there for bottling. So anyway, that's where we're at, and I'm going to get set up and start getting my vanilla ready. So I'm going to tell you, this is a lot of work, but I do get a finished vanilla in 13 weeks, and I get to use the vanilla pods again, and I get to use the seeds also. It's well worth the work. I will tell you this, these buckets, these are food grade buckets for serving and making salads or doing whatever for catering or restaurants. These have been the handiest thing I've had in my kitchen for the last 4 years. And every time I see them, I buy some. I've got some 2-gallon ones, and I'm going up to the 3-gallon ones. They are just so handy because I use them for stuff just like this. So I'm not going to worry about getting the seeds out right now. All I'm trying to do is get everything out of these jars and into here. Because I'm trying to separate, well, the seeds are going to go down below. So I'm trying to keep everything out. So I'm just kind of stirring this around. And see, I've got my long ones here. I'm going to save these long ones for bottling. So I'm not going to get too crazy. Not a whole lot of seeds in there. So you can see there's some seeds in there. But I don't care too much about that. I just want to get this out. And you can see there's seeds in there. So I'm just going to shake this a little bit. So I know there was a lot of seeds in that little batch. So I want to try to get as much as I can out of this jar back into here. I don't know if you can see that, but the whole bottom of this is full of seeds. And I'm just going to rinse these ones off and this jar. This hand's slippery. So there's one jar down. So these are pretty clean now. Still a few seeds in there, but I'm okay with that. That's gonna go and add more flavor to my vanilla sugar. So for me, these vanilla pods are done. I can't get any more extraction out of them. So the flavor that's left in them is gonna go right into my vanilla sugar and flavor that vanilla sugar wonderfully. It's gonna add some seed pods to it, or some seeds to it, and some of the pod, because I'm going to grind them up into a fine powder. But I always talk about consistency. So I've got 4 bottles here. It was the same alcohol, same company of beans that I've been using for the last 3 years. And they were all Madagascar. So everything was the same batch. But each bottle could develop a little differently. But here, before I start bottling, I'm going to mix all these bottles once I get all these vanilla pods out. So this is the part that's a pain in the butt. But well worth it. So I'm going to show you this. Coffee screen, stainless steel coffee screen. I use this thing for more things than anything in my kitchen, because I do a lot of different things. So here I go. I'm going to do the same thing I did with those, but now I'm going to go through this coffee screen. So if anybody's ever been gold panning, if you shake it up, everything goes, and the heavies will go down to the one corner. Same thing with the seeds. They'll go right down into that corner. They're starting to come out now. I don't know if you can see that. So with my process, I think it was in step 3, you'll see that I grind them up in the blender. Plus, when you scrape the vanilla pods in the very beginning, you do bring up some fibers. To me, that's okay. I don't mind fibers in my vanilla. That's what makes this homemade vanilla. It's not processed through a bunch of filters and stuff. So it doesn't bother me. But doing this does get some of that, those fibers out. So it's a little cleaner. But like I said, I don't care. but it does plug up your filter, so you kind of move it around. Man, it smells wonderful. So I'm going to do a little taste test. Because I want to know. The big question is, because I do use the coconut rum. I really do prefer it. If I can't get the coconut rum, I go to the white rum or the Captain Morgan white rum. It's okay. But my second preference over the coconut rum is the New Amsterdam vodka. Only because it's smoother and it makes a really, really good vanilla. The coconut rum for me is top notch for making vanilla. I mean, yeah, I've tried everything. So let me go ahead and just taste it. Okay, so you still got that alcohol bite. It's strange because, like I've said this in the past, every batch is a little different. It's strong, but not overpowering in the alcohol. Maybe if these set for a little bit longer, I don't know if that bite will go out of it. I've had a bottle for a year, and it's the bite's still the same as it was after I finished it, like this. No coconut though. Well, I'm not going to say no coconut. Only because I know it's in there. Maybe because that's why. But what I get right off the bat is that deep, rich vanilla. Kind of a woodsy. As a man, I call it a musk. A woodsy musk flavor to it. But it's that deep, deep, rich vanilla. I mean, this is why I'm doing it. I started off years ago. Well, I said I've been doing this 25 years. Well, 28 years actually. I started off really young. I'm 50, and when I was getting old. When I was 21, I started looking into old family recipes. And one of the things I hated was the alcohol content of store-bought. I didn't even think about making my own. And my wife and I started making homemade olives for eating, not olive oil, because we had a lot of homestead trees on our property that were olives. And my wife was saying, "Oh, her grandmother used to pick them, cure them, and do all that." So we started off with olives, and then I go, "Well, shoot, why can't we do that with vanilla?" And at the time there wasn't a whole lot on the internet about vanilla, so I had to do a bunch of research just to find out what I needed to do, and it was really basic stuff that was out there, not like it is today. It's crazy today. So I'm going to keep scraping this. So anyway, I got to the point where I was fed up with the store-bought vanilla. And I said, we got to do it. So that was 28 years ago. And here we are today. I'm still making it. My process has changed a lot in the last 6 years. Only because we're doing more things. We have a homestead here that we're growing gardens, and We've got an orchard. We're trying to produce everything ourselves for our family, and then a little bit to sell on the side to make a little income from our family. This just happens to be one of those things that we do for local. I do have my cottage license to sell it, but the laws prevent me from shipping it and going outside of my region. So I know a lot of you guys have those questions about selling vanilla and so forth. You know, I was just selling to my friends and family. I was giving them away for Christmas, and then they started wanting to buy it from me. And that's kind of how it all snowballed. So it was really just a hobby. To me, it's still just a hobby. It's just my friends and family have expanded a little bit. So I did go out and get my cottage license because we are trying to sell this stuff and be legal with everything that we're doing. We don't want to get in trouble with nobody. I mean, it is alcohol, but it's just our jams and jellies and things that we're trying to make money for here at our home, trying to pay our bills. So I'm trying to be legit. So I get those questions all the time. Do I sell it? And I have to honestly say, no, I can't. I can't sell it outside of my region. I'm hoping someday to do that. So I can reach out to some of you who are interested into it and offer it to you guys too. But as of right now, that's not happening. So I'm going to let this drain a little bit. I might have to clean this screen because there is some of the fibers in there holding it up from draining, but it's not going to stop me from going on to the next bottle because I got to do all these. I'll be right back. Don't want that to fall. All right, I'm back. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this trick, but I'm all about teaching you guys what I've learned so you can not go through some of the hassles I've been through. I mean, that's the whole reason I started shooting videos, was to help you guys. I'm not afraid of showing my methods or anything like that. I do testing because I want to know why. But when I see something cool, I had no idea. I don't know if you guys ever seen these. These are spoon holders for the side of your pot. They're silicone. And you stick a spoon in there. I think Rachel Ray used them. Anyway, do it on there so you don't have to put your spoon on the table when you're using a pot. These things work great. I saw somebody with these. Well, I'll leave that one alone. So with these things, sometimes these things slip in. These sieves, and they put a spoon in there to keep it from slipping in. Okay, sometimes I don't have a big enough spoon. This one will probably be okay, like that, but there's some issues with that. So I've been using the spoon holder to either stick it in this, and that'll keep it from slipping in. Trust me, I've had them slip in and I had to start all over again. It's not something that you want to do. So I'm just going to let that sit there and I'm going to move on to the next. The next jar. So these long ones I'm saving because I'm going to put these in my finished bottles for my customers. So if they want to use a vanilla pod to grind up or do something with, they can. It's more of a visual thing. I have several bakers that I sell my bottles to. They're not using the vanilla pods. They're using the extract. They're using the fluid. Because they always ask me what to do with these when they're done. Throw them away or whatever. I tell them to dry them out. Let them sit on the counter or put them in the oven with just, if you got a light bulb in the oven, just leave the light bulb on in there, let it dry out, and then grind them up and throw them in some sugar for their coffee or whatever. But so I always make sure my customers get some vanilla pods in there. It's a visual thing. And typically what I try to do is I put 2 to 3 of these in each bottle. And then once I get the seeds out, I'll divide all these seeds up between all the bottles that I have. So that each bottle, so people are asking me about that, about seeds. So each bottle will have about a spoonful of seeds in the bottom. Maybe a little bit more. And that way I give my customers the option of having seeds in there. At this point here, you can pull them out and put them in a different jar and save them for yourself, or make a paste, or do whatever you're going to do with them. I don't do any of that. I just put everything back into a bottle. So if somebody's making ice cream and they want the seeds in their ice cream, I tell them, shake up the bottle and then pour out your vanilla. You're going to get hundreds of seeds in there, enough to do your vanilla ice cream with, or your baked goods. If you need more than that, then you're going to have to use paste or something. But yeah, if you don't want the seeds in there, don't shake the bottle up and then just pour out your extract and you're good to go. So you have the option. I always try to give the option for that. Because not everybody wants seeds, but then there's some people that want seeds. Personally, I don't care. If they're in there, they're in there. If they're not, they're not. Because all the flavoring is in that extract. And I can make whatever I want from the extract. So let me just get the rest of these out. And we'll come back. I just wanted to show you where I'm at right now. It's probably been about an hour and a half. I've been filtering 2 jars and getting them all processed and cleaned up. In the meantime, had some battery failures, needed to change, and my cards were full. So I went ahead and did that, and I finished draining the other 2 bottles and squeezing them out. So what I did is, I saved all the vanilla beans pods. So I had my gloves on and everything, and I wrung them out as tight as I could to get most of that fluid out without doing something mechanical other than my hands, because that'll be fine in the dehydrator. But I did wring out quite a bit of fluid out of those vanilla pods, and that's what's left out of that 2 gallons. So that's what's left. I think let me shake this even. Yeah, there's about a half a gallon. There's 2 quarts worth of wet beans in there. And then, of course, these are all the long beans I saved for decoration inside the finished bottles. So that's out of all 4 bottles. That's all out of 4 bottles. So just wanted to kind of show you that. This is finished filtering fluid here. This is ready to go into the bottle. But here is that beautiful vanilla paste, or that's straight vanilla seeds right there. So if you look at the side of that thing's 3/4 full. And that's jam. That's all seeds right there. So I'm going to split that up between 8 bottles. So I know that came out of those 2 jars. I should get the same amount out of this batch here because it's still settling. And I need to filter. The filtering part, I told you before, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I got back in the rhythm. It's been a year since I've done it. And you're just going to have to be patient with it if you decide to process like I do. You'll just have to scrape the sides. I've got a little spatula or even a popsicle stick to scrape the sides and get some of that seeds away from the edge so it can filter. Other than that, This is good clean seed right here. You guys, if you want to take this at this point and put it in another jar and use this for your vanilla paste, you're good. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm not going to clean these jars out. I'm going to let them air out just a little bit to try to get some of that moisture out of there. I'll probably close them up tonight so nothing gets inside of them. But when I make my vanilla sugar and I dehydrate these and grind them up, I'm just going to wipe the lids and the threads off real good to clean them up. And I'll add my grindings and my sugar right into these jars and it'll clean up the rest. Like I said, I try to utilize every little bit of what I can. So I'm not going to clean those. I'm going to use that for the vanilla sugar and that'll be just fine. So anyway, I'm going to keep filtering here. And when I'm done with this, I'll come back and I'll start bottling. All right, I am done filtering. I did figure out one little thing. I didn't notice last time, but I had let after I poured everything out of the jars, I had let everything settle for a little bit, and then poured it off slowly, and filtered off probably 90% of the fluid going through the filter without plugging up, and then did another 5%. And then went through the filter and stuff and worked a lot faster that way. I have to retrain myself because I don't do this every day. But I took note this time what I did, so it'll go a lot faster. So anyway, I got 2 cups here of pure vanilla seeds. And then I've got my little bucket here full of the long vanilla pods. I got my little over 6 quarts, or it's actually right around 6 liters. If you're going by quarts or liters, it's a little over 6 quarts, or a little over 6 liters over here. Don't matter to me. As long as I go over 6 quarts, I'm good. Because I'm more concerned about my customers than fluid for myself. So I know I can get 16 bottles out of this. These are 12-ounce bottles, and I'm gonna go ahead and start putting vanilla pods in there and some vanilla seeds. I did a little test on this. I went right back to my milkshake spoon, which I absolutely love. I use it for everything, and I can get exactly 8 scoops of vanilla seeds out of each cup to fill my bottles. So that's perfect. I got 16 bottles. I got 2 cups here full of seeds. That would give me 16. So anyway, here we are. This is what I do. I take these long vanilla pods and I put them in the jar. I do one at a time because I want to make sure I get good coverage and I get equal amounts. So all I'm going to do is just fill these up. That was almost perfect. I got nothing left, and I got at least 3 in each one. So I was dinking around a little bit because I had some shorter ones, and I didn't want to put 3 long ones in and then have a bottle with shorter ones in it. So I tried to even it out, space it out. Consistency. I'm always talking about consistency. So that's one of my things. Just pushing it down. So here's the hard part. Now we got to fill them up. So what I usually do is I put the funnel on and I'm going to take my scoop So it's a good scoop. So all those vanilla seeds are going to go in one bottle. I put the scoop in here. I try to get most of them in the bottle, down the tube first. them now. Oh, I did want to tell you about the lids. So with using the screwdriver pulling the lids off all the time, they do get kind of crinkled or bent a little bit. I said it's not a big deal, but I've already used these through 2 seasons. I got plenty in the drawer. I'm not going to use them again because I did. They do bend a little bit, and it's not worth my effort to fight with them. So I'm just going to toss them, and I got more to use. So anyway, here's my pourer. I do have a bottle filler. If I'm doing a lot more, then I'll use my bottle filler to do it. It's something that I use for other stuff. But this is a good measuring, because the biggest thing about filling these bottles, don't overfill them. It just makes a sticky mess, and it's a real pain. So I did do the turkey baster, because once you get to a certain point, sometimes it's hard to control. But a turkey baster, best way to control it, to get it to that fine level. And the other thing I like, these funnels, there they go. These funnels are designed for filling bottles, long neck bottles like this. These are your standard funnels that you would get through a cooking website or Amazon. But most of these funnels have a design length for bottles like this. You fill them right to the lower end of it, and it's a perfect 12 ounces. But I've got my cup here. This is a 12-ounce cup. I'm going to fill it. I'm going to put these over here. Try to get this as close as possible. And then I start off with the whole cup over the funnel, because it's going to spill down the side. Now it's coming out the edge, and I can go a little faster. And it's washing all those seeds down from the funnel into the bottle. You don't want to rush this. And there you have it. One bottle. What do they say? Rinse and repeat?
Turkey baster it out.
I wasn't paying attention and I messed up. Just like I said. Good enough for me. Alright, so I topped off all these bottles. This is exactly what I calculated. I knew I was going to have a little bit extra. But this little bit extra, I'm just going to, whatever it fills up this bottle, that's what I'll put on my shelf and use for myself. Actually, I'm going to save a couple of these for myself, but this one here, won't sell it. I'll just keep it. And we'll use it. In fact, probably use it tomorrow. I did end up with a little bit more, a little less than my last batch. But nevertheless, I got a little bit more. And now, what I do is I go right into capping. So I sanitized all these earlier today. And all I'm going to do is just put the bottle on, or the cap on, and we're good. Alright, so there we have it. They're all capped. These guys look great. This is a beautiful bottle of vanilla. I always tell you, every time I make this stuff, it's a little different. My last batch was a little lighter than this, but this is a little darker. I love it. It tasted great. And then all I do from here is I put the shrink seal on top, and then I'll label it. I tell everybody, be creative with your labels. Don't copy somebody else's. Be creative. That's what this is all about. This hobby, this is fun. Be something different. My honey labels, I don't have a bee on it. Yeah, here's one of my honey bottles. I don't have a bee on it. Everybody else has a bee. I want to be different. I want to be unique. I want to do something that nobody else is doing. So I ended up putting a skull on there. The skull is my drawing. I do artwork and hand drawings and stuff. It's my drawing that I did years ago. I've done several renditions of it to clean it up for digital. But yeah, be unique and be creative. That's how we came up with Kevin. So Kevin's our dragon, and that's why we call our vanilla Dragon Venom Vanilla. And we also have a wax stamp that's a dragon. So we wax stamp all of our bottles. We don't do the honey anymore because it's a lot of volume. But we have a, this is a coconut, hazelnut, coffee liqueur, vanilla. Coconut, vanilla, hazelnut, coffee liqueur that we make. No, I don't ship this either. Or I don't give out the recipe. But we do the wax labels on this. And we have a steer head on that, just to match the labeling. So be creative. The wax labeling, I remember the old school stuff, having that wax stamp. I thought it was cool. Nobody's doing it anymore. Some of them are doing the wax tops. I was like, no, I'm going to do the wax stamps. And all my customers love it. It's one of the first things that they see, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. So try something new, try something different. With Kevin here, I happen to be posting this on my Facebook page. God, probably 2 years ago, I think. And everybody went ape crazy over Kevin. They loved him. And I wasn't even into dragons. I just happened to buy one. I wanted to sculpt it and shape it and then paint it. So I've been finding these things online. They're rough when you get them, and then you can reshape them, trim them up a little bit, suit your needs. Like I said, be creative, and then do what you want with them. But they're kind of cool. I'll leave a link to the heads where I get them, and then you guys can be creative. But yeah, everybody loved Kevin, so I thought we need to call our vanilla something. And Venom. Why not? Dragon, Venom, Vanilla. It was kind of like perfect. So we kind of ran with that, and it's been a big hit since then. So we try to be different. You'll see my videos. We have a certain taste that's a little unique. Not unique, but it's our own. So that's why I try to encourage people. Just be your own, do something creative, and design something really cool. I would like to see some of your guys' designs that are doing vanilla. I think it's fun. I love seeing everybody's designs and what they're doing with their bottles. So you can drop a comment down there and show me your designs. I do have a Facebook page, Clements Family Farms. Go check it out, because sometimes I post daily stuff that I'm doing on there that I'm not doing videos. Because I just updated it, because I do artwork and everything. Because I want to encourage people to be creative and do something constructive. So this is just one of my things along with the art. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the seals on these, and then I'll show you a quick little trick with my labeling, because I always talk about consistency, right? Well, same thing with the labeling. So let me get that out, and I'll give you a quick little demonstration. All right, I looked for my little jig, but I can't find it right now, and I'm really tired. I've been here all day, in this room all day. So, but I'll show you on my other bottles here. I make these little jigs out of cardboard, and they work great. I used to use a different type of wine bottle, but I had this one jig here that I used for the wine bottle and my honey. So all my labeling is all consistent from top to bottom. So all the bottles are the same. And the way I do that is I make a little cardboard jig and I slide the bottles in right where I want to put my labeling. I make a line. So like I said, I use this one for 2 different bottles. I'm not using those bottles anymore. But for my honey bottles, I have a line right here and it says honey. So I just put it in there and then I'll peel off my label, sit right over the top of it, and make sure that the bottom of that is right on that line, and I'm good. So yeah, these little, they don't cost you anything to make. You can use glue, hot glue gun to make it. I use a combination of both. They work good. They're not pretty, but when you don't have a lot of money, you'll come up with something. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm always trying to be creative and doing something. Same thing. These ones are a little tighter. I made this one a little bit better. So it just drops in there, and it faces me just right to put the label on. Especially for you guys that are going to be doing your vanilla, and you're going to be trying to sell it at the farmer's market or wherever you guys are going to sell it. The consistency of everything that you're doing is big. People will come back to it if it's consistent. They know that you're paying attention. They know that you are committed to what you're doing, and you're doing something right. Because consistency is a big thing. It goes with the labeling. If you've got a knockout label, people will gravitate to it. It is about marketing. The dragon thing, it's about marketing, because I could sell this stuff all day long everywhere just because of the dragon. There's people that just want it because of the name of it. Anyway, so when you guys are doing consistency, a simple little cardboard cutout like this, so you guys make sure it's comfortable for you to see and look down on it, and then put your labels on. Because when you start doing a lot of bottles, it gets tedious. So make it easy on yourself and make yourself a little cardboard jig. You know, just like this one was. It's just Sharpie on it. And if you're using the same jig for a couple bottles, make sure you write on there what bottles you're using it on. And then make sure you put it in a place where you can find it. I got stuff everywhere, so I can't find them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this down. I'm going to lay a new bottle down. And I will tell you. All right, so you saw me leave off there with getting ready to label a bottle in front of you. I ended up, it was a late day for me, and I lost all that footage. So I just wanted one last tip on labeling, and that's what I was going for in that video before it cut off on me. My go-to bottle cleaner, and this is really important because cleaning your bottles is a big pain in the butt. I don't know how many times I've cleaned these bottles, but you're going to handle them multiple times. But my go-to cleaner for cleaning my bottles that works the best is actually vinegar and water. It's super cheap. You make it at home, but it's 2/3 water, 1/3 vinegar, and that's all you need. And I use RO water or distilled water. You don't want anything that's got calcium in it anyway, because that's what has the water spots and the smudge on the side of your bottles. So the vinegar really does cut that out, and it makes glass super, super clean. I use that on all my car windows and everything. But anyway, before you label, make sure. So for one, make sure you wash your hands really good to make sure you get all the oils and stuff off your hand before handling your bottles and your labels. So that's key. So the vinegar and water, come back, spray your bottle with the vinegar and water. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, and depending on how much gunk you get on them. So when you're filling these bottles, sometimes you drip a little bit. I always do, some way from moving the funnel over. So you're gonna get this this syrupy. Well, you're gonna get extract on there. It's gonna be tacky and so forth. So you're just gonna get stuff on there. So spray it with your vinegar water, and then get yourself a nice soft cloth. I happen to have these. I don't even know what you call these things. Anyway, just get yourself a nice soft cloth and wipe them down really good before you label. And check them out through the side, because sometimes you can see things from the side that you can't see directly on. The other tip I have about labeling is some of these bottles have, I don't know what they are, they're mold marks or creases in them. So these sauce bottles do, because these are the cheaper versions. They're not the real fancy ones where there's no seams on them. So there's a seam on this side and a seam on this side. I always talk about consistency. And I try to do that with everything, looking at the bottle and even my tops here. So I try to make sure that the seams are on either side of my label, not in the middle, because sometimes when you push your labels down, that seam will show up depending on the bottle. Some of these bottles, you can't hardly see the seam, and some of them, that seam is right there. So when you push your label into them, you'll see it. So it's a little bit of an eyesore, but if you know that it's there and you put your label side to side of it, you're good, and you'll avoid that from showing up. Same thing with my heat shrink. Sometimes there's a little pull tab on the side, and I always try to put that to the back. Sometimes I forget when I'm doing things because I'm doing a lot of bottles, but most of the time I try to keep it to the back. It's a little more pleasing to the eye, and that goes along with marketing. So anyway, here we are. We got the finished bottle and labeled, and marketing is a huge, huge deal for vanilla, especially if you guys are trying to sell it and so forth. My flavor is great. I was never selling anything as far as my vanilla before or marketing it. It's just happened to be one of those things I picked up in the last couple years, because really I was just giving this stuff to my friends and family for the holidays and stuff like that, but then they came back and wanted more, and then people started rolling in wanting more of it. And then once I started calling it Dragon Venom Vanilla, I saw a marketing opportunity. So I took advantage of it, and then I started learning about marketing and what sells. I'm not a marketer. I'm just a homesteader, and I mean, I don't do vanilla for a living. It's just a side hustle for me. I'm all learning this stuff. I just happen to make a great vanilla. So along with that,
I looked at marketing because I want to make sure my customers are happy, and they like the nostalgic of it because I am different. I want to be different, and I tell people, be creative and be different. Use your head, have fun with it, and if you can, make a little money at it. So anyway, that kind of wraps up my vanilla series. I am going to be making a vanilla sugar video. That's kind of in the process of all this. So that one will be coming out. So look for it. Definitely subscribe to our channel and for the next coming videos. And I really do enjoy everybody's comments. So thank you guys. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. So we'll see you guys on the next video.